Hello everyone and welcome to this Friday's talk show. So this week we are heading into the workshop to talk with Gordon about his Jensen 541. We're also going to have a chat in here about some automotive news, which is really quite exciting. And let's see the winners of our triple live draw. We have ventured into the finishing room here at British Classic Cars, where me and Gordon are stood next to his wonderful Jensen 541. Gordon, tell us a bit about this stunning car.
Well, we say it's mine. It was supposed to be mine, and it is mine for retirement when I finally go into retirement. But I've done this before. We had a Jaguar C-Type, which was built for myself.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And one of our customers came in and said, "Oh, that's absolutely gorgeous," and he bought it. And then the other day, another customer came in and said, "Oh, it's just so stylish, that Jensen. Is it for sale?" I just have this problem of not saying, "No, it's not for sale." You know, yes, of course it's for sale. So we do a lot of Jensen. So we're really, really well known for Jensen 541s. We don't do interceptors. We leave that to other experts. But the 541 we started solely really as a mistake. Okay.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we were. I was over in a friend's house and he had two of them, barn finds. And I said, "Oh, that's really, really nice. I'd like to buy one of those." And he said no. Oh. And then eventually his wife turned around and said, "Why don't you sell him one?" So we got one. We actually got what I thought at the time was the prettier one, which is a 541S. Mm-hmm. But they didn't make a lot of 541s. They made 541s, 541Rs, and 541Ss. And the 541S really was a bigger floor pan, because I think they were gearing up for the CV8. So they were going to maybe put a V8 engine. So they were just getting everything ready. And like all of these cars, the TVRs of this world and the Marcoses, and this is made up of a lot of different cars.
Right.
Lots of Austin Healey bits. Just generally what was on the shelf to assist them to It's a fiberglass body. This is actually a 541 with a 541R bonnet. Okay.
Right.
Now I preferred the 541R bonnet. We had a customer who brought us 3 cars. He wanted to do 2 cars, and the third one he wanted to use as a spares car.
Gotcha.
It was really a bit too good. I don't like breaking anything up, so we said no. Let's just put that to one side. And when I started looking at it, it was a very, very rare specification. It was lilac, so pink, with a dark blue roof and white leather.
Wow.
So that was the one I sort of latched onto to think, I like things to be a bit different.
Yes.
So I thought I'll latch onto that, put it back to original. But in the meantime, one of our really, really good customers, we'd done quite a few cars for him. He decided he wanted one of these, and he wanted a specific deep carriage green.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
With claret leather. Mm-hmm. Now, when we looked at this car, the actual original colour was deep carriage green with claret leather. Wow. So that fitted the build really well. But halfway through the build, unfortunately, he had to back out, which left us with the car. So I said, well, okay, we'll do this one for me rather than the lilac one. So this is really what's happened. So this car is totally concours condition, okay? Everything's been done on this car, everything's new. We pride ourselves on our paint. With fiberglass, it's very, very difficult to prepare. And when these come out of the factory, they were very ripply. And they're also 60 odd years old. So that the fiberglass isn't very good anymore. Our paint shop, that's obviously Chris heads that up. He is meticulous. So he takes this right back to bare, then gel coat. He doesn't ever put these in ovens. You know, he'll paint it in the oven, but there's no heat in it. That will sit and that will sink and basically cure itself, and then he'll paint it again and he'll paint it again. And everybody who comes in here and looks at our Jensens always think they're aluminium, which is a great compliment to us.
Definitely.
To think that. They came out with steel wheels. A lot of people put wire wheels on them. We've done exactly that. The wheels at the moment are away being powder coated, and they're being powder coated in claret. So that will be claret interior, claret wheels, green car. There's very, very little available for 541s. We've probably got the biggest stock of spare parts and spare cars in the country, maybe possibly in the world.
Right.
But then you get suppliers who, in Vietnam, they make stainless steel bumpers. So we don't rechrome the bumpers because the thing about stainless steel, first of all, they're totally to spec.
Yeah.
But if you scratch them, you can polish them out. With chrome, you have to re-chrome them.
Right.
So that's a great alternative. We upgrade the lights, we upgrade the oil systems, the water systems to make them more of a touring car for the family. I mean, they're beautiful cars to drive.
They are.
They use an Austin 4-litre engine, Austin Princess engine, and gearbox, and all the S's, mainly, not all the S's, about 4 or 5 I think are manual, but they're all automatic. But the 541s, which have this flap on the front, not to everybody's taste.
I love it.
Yeah, that's not to everybody's taste. That you can open that from inside the car. So as hot weather and this sort of thing, to get more airflow, you can actually open it so it goes up 90 degrees and it's flat to maximum air. It's just a beautiful car. It really is a beautiful car.
See, little quirky things like that. I think that's what makes some classics so special as well.
Yes.
Fun little things that you just don't see anymore.
Well, I don't know how many times on these I've said that trouble modern cars are all the same.
Yeah.
You've struggled even to find different colours, and they all look like, as I said before, Lego bricks. And but you've got so much style. They're literally an impossible car to do at home.
Yeah.
If you've got very, very good mechanical skill, you'll do it. I always ask people who've restored cars, did you take the body off the chassis? And they go, oh no, there's nothing wrong with the chassis. Well, the chassis rots everywhere you can't see.
Right.
So unless you take the body off,
you can't tell.
And there is a guy in the UK who makes chassis. So there's obviously enough demand to make brand new chassis. He makes brand new doors and the brand new frame that goes into the thing. So that's a good basis to start. But that alone, without buying the car, by the time you've just done the bare skeleton, you can be into £30,000. So to do one of these properly, you're well over £100,000. And we do them properly. Chrome work, nothing's cheap to do. It really isn't.
Well, I think it's a testament to British classic cars that whenever we go to any car shows and there is a Jensen stand, there will rarely be one that we haven't worked on in some capacity.
Well, we did the original show car, and that won awards. We've our local shows, because we've got local people who know what we do here, and they've got them. I don't know of really one that we've restored from ground up hasn't won an award, which is great, isn't it? I mean, you walk around British classic cars, there's photographs of them all over the place, because we just love doing them.
Are you itching to get behind the wheel?
No,
you're so used to it.
I love driving. And I don't think it necessarily. I mean, I've won concours competitions. Long time ago, I won a part of the Benson Hedges Classic Concours for the Mercedes 230. So I've gone through all aspects of owning classic cars. The best part about classic cars is driving them. Yeah. It isn't about polishing them and with cotton buds and all this sort of thing. It is what a lot of people like to do. I call them mantelpiece cars. Yes. Right? There's people who want to put them on the mantelpiece and just
leave them there.
No, I do like to drive them. But the thing is, when this car came in, it was a total wreck. Yeah. So if I scratched it or I chipped it, I've got all the facilities here
to fix it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So no, this will be driven, and it'll be kept in this sort of condition. But it'll do European trips and this sort of thing, and I was built for it. So
fabulous. Well, there you go, retirement. I can't wait to see it on a little trip around Europe.
Yeah. We've got to get released from here first.
We are here for a triple live draw. If you are just joining us now, I'm Molly. We have Nick behind the camera. He doesn't have a mic on today, but I have the lovely Craig here with me in the Classic Lounge for the triple live draw. Okay, let's go for it. This is the live draw now of our Williams Racing Coach Built Whiskey. 109.
Oh, yes.
You were right. Sharon Ford. Sharon Ford, you have just won our Coach Built Whiskey. Congratulations. So now we're going to move on to the MG. The MG.
There'll definitely be a winner straight away on this one.
There will, because it was completely sold out. Good luck, everyone. I'm going to count down from 3. 3, 2, 1. 1,295. Stuart Brown, number 1,295. Stuart Brown, you have just won yourself a marvellous MGB. How exciting! This is a live draw for our 2013 Land Rover Defender 110. Good luck. 3, 2, 1. 107. 107. We have a winner, Nigel Campbell. Nigel Campbell, congratulations. You have just won yourself a Land Rover Defender 110 or £20,000. Are you watching, Nigel? If you are, congratulations. If you didn't win this time, I'm so sorry, guys, but thank you so much for joining us on this live stream. I'm now joined by Craig, our director, and Rob, our marketing manager, to talk about some news that's been going on in the automotive world. So it seems that major companies are now going back on the fact that they wanted to make all of their cars electric. Is that right, Rob?
Yeah, obviously there's quite a few manufacturers who are looking at it, but Porsche have recently announced that they're probably taking a step back from a full electric lineup. And obviously over the last however many years with the diesel and petrol ban, 2030, 2035, whenever it's going to happen, EVs were the kind of solution. But so Porsche have based it on low interest and poor sales,
Right.
Particularly overseas sales in China specifically. And yeah, so they're now forecasting that their profit their profit this year will be 10 to 12% against their target of 20%. So it's quite a big drop based on the performance. And I can't remember the exact wording, but it's something like the tepid reaction to the Taycan, was it?
Yeah.
Was one of the main reasons. So they're now. It's going to cost them a lot of money.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned earlier that it's going to cost a lot of money to kind of change everything back to combustion engines.
So their forecast just for 2025 is $831 million. So it's about £665 million.
So is it the sales of Taycans have gone down?
Yes.
Or haven't been as successful?
Haven't been as successful as they thought.
I think that is probably one of the prettiest electric cars out there. And that would be the one. I've not touched any electric car, but that would be the one to have.
Yeah.
But isn't there there was a massive waiting list, you couldn't get hold of
Oh,
them
really?
at all?
Well, do you think it might be something to do with as well? Because if you drive a Porsche, you love to hear that engine roar. You want to have that whole experience of the combustion engine, like people do when they drive the classics.
Yeah.
Do you think that's kind of hindered the electric car at all? Or?
I think any. I think so many car enthusiasts, more car enthusiasts than none, would go for a combustion engine.
Yeah.
I've never really heard much positive stuff said about an electric car from a petrol head.
Yeah.
From someone who's really into their cars.
And it's interesting. So obviously EVs were kind of pushed on. There was grants and discounts and everything else.
Yeah.
But now, so Porsche are spending that extra money on developing a combustion engine, their combustion engine range, as well as hybrids. So it looks like they're going back to the combustion engines.
Which I think is really exciting. And I think that will excite a lot more people. I mean, I've always been a little bit confused by electric cars, because when they first come out, didn't it? It was like you bought the car and the car wasn't a lot of money, but you rented the battery. And then I was sort of sitting there not really understanding. This is when they first came out, and I knew someone who'd got one, and I was like, well, how does that work? How do you go on to sell the car? And does that next person have to take the commitment of the battery? And it all got a little bit confusing, but I've always been put off by the range. I mean, my family spend a lot of time up in Manchester. So when we go up there, you wouldn't get up there in one run.
But the thing is as well, then how does this kind of going back to combustion engines stand with the environmental issues and trying to make it a little bit more eco-friendly? Are they going to put more effort into making things like P1 synthetic fuel to try and combat that? Like, it seems like we're going backwards,
Well,
but how are
they
we going to
should.
go backwards to go forwards?
Well, this is it. There's so many things that seem to be going backwards in terms of sustainability.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got America, even down to they're bringing back plastic straws rather than paper straws.
Yeah.
They're drilling again. They're going for oil and petrol. I think it was BP recently announced they're going to focus more on oil and gas compared to sustainable. Their sustainable policies at the moment. And I think, you know, going back to the combustion engines, if that happens, the logical solution would be synthetic fuel, or there's hydrogen coming through. There's lots of other things coming, and I think that EVs were the one that everyone focused on as this is the solution. Let's go for it, you know, with the discounts, the grants, and everything else. And they're now finding that maybe it's not the best solution for everyone.
Like, I know that you've said this before, that you believed that EV wasn't the only solution. No. It is part of a bigger picture where, okay, some people might want EV, some people might want synthetic.
And maybe synthetic wasn't as big a focal point back when the electric cars were being developed, mass produced, I guess, a few years ago. Synthetic and sustainable wasn't really on the agenda, but now it very much is.
Certainly in our world it is. We're understanding it a lot more, and I think if a lot more people get hold of that, we've said this before, it's going to get the cost down. It means all of the cars that are on the road now can still exist. There is still an infrastructure in place for electric, so that in theory can stay, but it's just not the pressure that goes with it that we all having to get rid to get a nice, shiny electric car.
Definitely. Do you think that everyone kind of was like, wow, when the electric car was made, and everyone went a bit gung-ho with it, and they've all chucked so much stuff in it, and now, like Porsche are doing, they're all having to kind of go, okay, let's slow down here, reevaluate the situation?
I think the big thing was there were so many perks to getting an EV, you know, and now I think the zero emission vehicle mandate is massive in the news right now. Everyone's saying that car manufacturers are getting punished for not hitting their sales targets on EVs, but they're saying the demand's not there, so they're then getting fined, so then it's impacting their success as a business, you know. So if people aren't interested or aren't buying the EVs, then they think, well, the only solution is we were doing fine on the combustion engine, so let's go back to that. And I think as whether you like him or not, I think Donald Trump's way of just being like, well, I'm just going to go back to this because this works well from a monetary point of view. I think it's kind of given companies the
ability to go, okay,
actually, I'm going to do it. For the planet, not necessarily a good thing.
But it does mean they can develop into different directions. They can head in a different direction. They can now look and concentrate more on hydrogen and concentrate more on sustainable. And I'm sure there'll be people out there that then look at the problems of sustainable fuel, look at the problems of hydrogen, like we all do, I suppose. With
but that's how things get better, isn't it? You see a problem, you solve it, and then something better comes along.
I think it's quite exciting. It's quite exciting news that Porsche's saying that.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think at home? Do you think that we're heading in the right direction, going backwards to then go forwards? Are you happy about the change from EV back to combustion? Let us know in the comment section.